Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. Alright. This is welcome back. This is my Emmy review for the movie Men, written and directed by Alex Garland, starring Jessie, Buckley, Rory, Kinnear, and Paapa Essiedu. Cinematography, which I have to know because it's so awesome, Rob Hardy. He's also credited for a lot of other Alex Garland's movies. But yeah, here's my review for Men. Quick synopsis, and I mean this is from IMDb. A young woman goes on a solo vacation to the English countryside following the death of her ex-husband. There's so much to unwrap. I would love to do a spoiler review. I'd like an explained video about this because there's just so much that you can infer and subject, and it's an amazing talking piece. Like, there's really interesting things going on in this film that allow so much to be talked about. So what did I think about it? I like this film a lot. In fact, I think this is a great movie. I love this movie, and it's because it just ticks a lot of boxes for me. It's got great photography, it's got stellar acting, it's got provocative storytelling, it's got exciting VFX and special effects, even more so I'd say for the special effects. But I think my favorite thing is what I was alluding to before. It is just a great way to discuss current issues, possibly timeless issues, about things that we may not be able to directly confront. Most people find the themes and subjects in this movie very difficult to talk about directly, but under the guidance of the film's metaphors and themes, it allows us to really get into what we think about those subjects, how we think about those subjects, and what possibly we could do about those things. And this is all so good, it's so good. I mean, going back to something a bit more concrete that I can actually objectively explain how good it is the cinematography. Just unbelievably beautiful, picturesque landscapes and deep, rich photography. It's exactly what I have wanted for ages, where you go into like a TV showroom and they have these really beautiful macro photography about liquid, like fluid dynamics, or like, you know, all different types of nature shots and everything like that. And I was like, oh my god, that looks amazing. I wonder what my movies would look like on that TV. And then you put the movies on, and the level of photography is nowhere near the same as these very specific shot, like almost like, you know, Planet Earth, David Attenborough nature photography. The cinematographer Rob Hardy, he is credited for all of Garland's previous work. Annihilation, which if you haven't seen, is a wild ride. I would say that this is even more of a wild ride. Annihilation is a bit more of a slow burn. Ex Machina, which is far more VFX heavy, but still the big landscape shots are incredible. What about the acting? It's such a tiny crew of actors. It's mostly two people. And the reason why it is because Jessie Buckley, who plays the main focus character, the protagonist, Paapa, she goes away to this country house. She's met with the landlord, the owner of the country house. He's played by Rory Kinnear. You might know him from a few movies, but I know him specifically from that pig episode of Black Mirror. And what a fantastic actor. But like, both of them are incredible, honestly. But what's weird is, even though there's only 2 or 3 actors in this film, Rory Kinnear has to play basically every man in the film besides Paapa's ex-husband, who is played by Paapa Essiedu, which we see sparingly through the film, but equally has a huge impact on the subjectivity and the feelings that you get from the film. They all are fantastic and bring an intensity to all of their roles. That said, I can't imagine how exhausting those kind of films can be. And then even so, I've watched the press junkets with them, and she had nothing more to say other than that working with Rory Kinnear was obscenely funny. In the interview, she says things like, he keeps making her a corpse, as in, it's just so funny that she's just knocked dead on the floor. And that's such a great colloquialism. I've never heard that before, but I love it. It's great. It just sounds like they had such a great time. It's nice to know that a movie that is so insanely intense and filled with sorrow and melancholy, that they had so much fun. Referring to Rory Kinnear, he has, I don't know, maybe nearly 10 different masculine roles he has to play in this film, and they're all quite different, and some are like very physically demanding, some require him to have loads of prosthetics and makeup. It must have been pretty intense for him, and it's quite fascinating, really, like what that must feel like. It must be just so fun to know that you're not just getting one role, you're getting multiple roles who are very, very different from each other. I will say that there is a bit where they have to use VFX to make him look really young in one scene, and in the one scene where it's outside, it's so uncanny valley, it's not funny. It immediately pulled me out of the movie, because I was like, that is definitely Rory Kinnear, but it's on a kid's body and it looks weird. It just looks bizarre. It didn't look bizarre in like, oh, that's weird, I feel weird right now. I think based on how I see VFX, because I'm quite interested in how it works, for me, it just pulled me out. I think for other people, it would make maybe them feel a bit disturbed, which I guess is the intention. And Paapa Eddie, you don't really see him much, but again, like I said, he brings a lot to the moments he's in, and he's definitely not amiss from my thoughts of rethinking about the movie. Ultimately, the themes, how we deal with loss, sorrow, guilt, it's also that packed in with many different facets of toxic masculinity. There are literally characters who are, dated and traditional. There's the naive and immature, the repressed or neglected and predatory, the laddish and apathetic, or merely just the nature of man itself. This is from my own personal subjectivity, but for me it seems quite clear. But even so, it's just nice to have those things presented and have them in a way that they can be talked about and understood, and it gives you opportunities to listen to other people and what they think as well. It does end very abruptly, and understandably so. No, and intentionally so. Alex Garland, when asked about this film, he did reference a few things. He referenced things like Space 2001, and he talked about David Cronenberg and films like The Thing, which is pure nightmare fuel for me. Absolutely ruins me. Even as an older man, it still disturbs me to no end, that film. But he even mentioned Attack on Titan, which I was like, oh my god, this guy's got some taste. This is cool, because he specifically says that the end is really whatever the watcher makes of it. Like, it's obviously he has intentions for every scene to provoke certain types of ideas and funneling us down into certain corridors, but ultimately film is left up to the user's interpretation. And I guess if you're not too beholden to that, if you're not too locked onto what your interpretation is, it'll allow you to really understand other things about other people based on how they interpret it. Yeah, it's absolutely a critical hit for me. I've seen so many comments about this film, and they hate it. They hate it. It's annoying for them. It's upsetting. I saw one say it's absolute poop. That was a legit IMDb review. I thought that was quite funny. But yeah. Anyway, if you haven't had a chance to see it, I think it's gone from the cinemas now in the UK. But when it comes about, if you want to have a moment of being disturbed and cerebrally stimulated with heated conversation afterwards, this is definitely a good movie for that. That is a movie for you. Either way, it serves as cool folklore horror while also being an interesting existential or philosophical debating piece. I hope you liked my review. I really appreciate anyone who watched it. Please stay tuned. I'm going to try and keep reviews coming out every Monday. I'm Fletcher. This is Emmy. Thanks for the likes. Loves to the subs. And I'll see you guys next time.